And sometimes we feel like we have to contribute something to a conversation because people expect it of us. I don't know, maybe because you have the title or because they're asking you or because they think you know everything. It's okay to answer them with silence. When you're being silent, what are you doing more of? We're listening. And not just listening to people, we are listening to our intuition. We are listening to God. We are listening to the in-between. When you know how people say read in between the lines? In life, it's so many, if life was a book, it's so much that's said in between the lines that can only be heard through silence.
Ask Kadi, the voice of reason. It's an advice show covering all kinds of topics that millennials face. That's my girl, Kadi C, the friend that cares more about your growth than your feelings.
All right, welcome back to another episode of Ask Kadi, the voice of reason. I am your host, Kadi, and I am feeling so, I don't even know, rejuvenated maybe is the word. I have been cranky all week. Like, I don't know if it's the 30s, but like, if I even miss out on 1 hour, like if I don't get enough sleep, I am cranky like a toddler. Like, I don't know if other people can relate, but I've been cranky. I had one night where I stayed up a little later than usual and it just messed up my whole schedule during the week. And I just been so cranky to the point I accidentally taught my daughter that she can steal, right? Because we went to Wawa. I picked her up at summer camp and we stopped at Wawa. But while in Wawa, somebody called me. I was on the phone. I had a bunch going on. She picked up her juice. I scanned everything but her juice. But as we were walking out, she was trying to tell me, Mommy, but you know, when my daughter's at summer camp, I be missing her. Like, it's 9 to 4. Like, I don't know if other parents feel this way. When you're away from your kids, you start to miss them. Then they come back, and then you remember. You are so annoying. Like, my daughter, I love her, but she got my genes. She's a talker. She likes to talk. And, like, sometimes it be nonsense. Mommy, you know, like, the sky is blue, but why is that green? Girl. So that mixed with me being cranky, it was just like, so instantly when she said, Mommy, I'm thinking she's about to have her random moments that I wasn't in the mood for. So I just like, Arlie, please. Like, I say this to her, like, I'm like, please. Sometimes I be like, girl, you're aggravating. But my daughter has tough skin, so I know that doesn't really hurt her feelings. I hope not. I try to backtrack with doing that. But she was like, well, I'm just trying to tell you we didn't pay for this juice. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to pay for it later. She's like, you sure? She was like, yeah, because I don't want the police coming here, because how are you going to explain it? How are you going to explain how he got this juice? It was the funniest thing. But lately, like with my daughter and my crankiness, I have been learning the importance of silence. Growing up, I feel like we've always, at least I have always like been taught, you gotta speak up. Like, you know what I'm saying? Especially being a Black woman, being a Black little girl. We are constantly told the importance of speaking up. Don't let anyone run over you. So that's something that I ran with throughout life. Like, I was always big on like how I would like mask my insecurity, how I would mask my vulnerability is by being super vocal. Like, you know what I'm saying? I walk in the room and I'm like, oh, I'm embarrassed, but let me talk so they don't see that, right? But going into my 30s and just getting older in life, I have really, the gift of silence has gifted me in ways that I cannot even begin to like put in one episode. But I try to. I'm going to really narrow down how silence really gives us the most greatest gifts in life, right? Because when it comes to staying silent, I feel like the most important times, or at least in my life, where silence is what got me through is like when I'm lost, when I don't know what I'm doing next. That used to irk me because it's like, oh, even a perfect example I'm sure a lot of people experience after graduating college. You know what folks gonna ask you next. What you doing? Okay, you graduating, did you get a job? Like, and what are you doing next? So what's next? After you get married, so what's next? After every milestone in your life, people are always asking what's next, right? So when you're lost and when you really don't have an answer, I used to be so insecure about that because I never considered that I don't know, or just silence was an answer. Like, it was okay to not feel like you had to have an answer to that question, right? When I'm confused. when I'm not sure. That's something for me, and I'm sure for a lot of people it triggers an insecurity. When I'm really like, what is going on? What is this person doing? What am I doing? When I'm confused, I like to talk my way through confusion. But silence, the gift of silence has taught me how to navigate confusion when I'm emotional. Now that's something I'm still practicing, right? But when I'm emotional, especially when we're angry, when we're annoyed, you know what I'm saying? Being silent through that and not allowing that energy to translate into words, and you saying things that you don't mean and hurting people in ways that you don't intentionally mean to do. And I said this already, but I put it on my list twice. So clearly, when you don't know what you're talking about, it's okay to say nothing. If people are having debates, and this is, I don't know if it's social media has made this a thing where people feel like they have to have an opinion in everything. Like with me becoming a mom, something I always see happen, mainly on social media, but in general, when people are having mom talk, everyone feel like they got to relate to each other's experience. It's okay to say, oh, that I don't know that experience. Yes, we are both moms, but I don't know that experience, and not adding my opinion just because I think I got the ticket to talk about it because I'm a mom. But this applies to any situation. Sometimes we feel like we have to contribute something to a conversation because people expect it of us. I don't know, maybe because you have the title or because they're asking you or because they think you know everything. It's okay to answer them with silence. AKA, don't feel like you have to do anything. So the thing about silence, what it does is it's going to change the direction of life in such a powerful way for you. Because when you're being silent, what are you doing more of? We're listening. And not just listening to people, we are listening to our intuition. We are listening to God. We are listening to the in-between. When you know how people say read in between the lines? In life, it's so many, if life was a book, it's so much that's said in between the lines that can only be heard through silence. Speaking up can do a lot for us, but there are ways that silence benefits us. So this is the list of things I came up with to kind of show us and want you guys to ingrain your head when you experience these moments, how silence will be the thing that give you the answer or solution or lead you down the path that you need to get out or get through that situation. Silence reveals your hidden enemies. Let me tell you. The thing about an enemy is a lot of times we think when someone is our enemy, it's intentional. Like they're really sitting, well, granted, there are people that probably sit at home and be like, I hate this person. I want to find a way to sabotage them. But a lot of times your enemy doesn't even know that they're your enemy, because it's not that their intention makes them an enemy, it's their behavior. You know what I'm saying? So it's like when you are silent, you are able to really pay attention to those friends that you have in your life and pay attention to how they think, and then realize how it could contribute to your downfall, right? So on top of the fact that there are people monitoring spirits. People, if you don't know what a monitoring spirit is, I've been going down a rabbit hole about this, because a monitoring spirit is someone who doesn't even know that, if you believe in the devil, the enemy, whatever, is using them to like kind of obsess about you to the point, I guess you would call it secret haters or frenemies or whatever, but in reality, it's an energy. Like someone can become envious of you and don't even realize it in real time that they're becoming envious of you because of them witnessing you experience something in life. And because they're not realizing it, it's even more important for you to stay silent so you can realize it and either get away from that person or at least alter your relationship where this person doesn't have as much of an impact in your life as they do at the moment. Another thing is silence reveals and confirms your next steps. You know, I talk about this a lot when I had lost my job and I went through this stage of unemployment. Initially, when I got laid off during COVID. So when I got that call, the next day I had a plan. I'm going to move to LA. I'm going to live out my dreams. I got this plan. Every time somebody asks me, oh, okay, yeah, I got, like, first of all, in order for me to get to a point to tell the people in my life that I was laid off, I had to have a plan already. Because I knew that's what was coming next. Like, okay, what you gonna do, girl? So I was like, yeah, I'm moving to LA. I know somebody that lives out there. I had this whole plan. Then I started applying for jobs in LA and I started getting callbacks. Okay, doing interviews. And in my opinion, and not just my opinion, I had people say after an interview or in the midst of me answering a question like, wow, you're great. And then 2 weeks later, I get an email, oh, we decided to go with another candidate. I had someone even say, we feel like you're just overqualified. When we get a role that is like more for you, then we'll call you, right? So little by little, my confidence clearly on my confidence as far as in regards to my plan started to like, go down. And it forced me into a place of silence. Because every solution I came with, it was first, I'm gonna move to LA, or maybe I'm gonna do this. When every plan started to fail, I had no choice but to shut the echo. To the point, when people ask me straight up, I don't know. I don't know what I'm gonna do next. I got into a cocoon. I got into this hermit mode where I stopped going out. I didn't really want to talk to friends that much. I didn't even want to talk to my family in my house that much. I just needed a moment of silence. And in that silence, so much started to be revealed. One thing that was revealed to me was my inability to be still. Like, yeah, a part of me being unemployed, a part of the discomfort in me being unemployed was the fact that I needed money. But granted, this was COVID. So I was getting the stimulus. I was getting that was the most money I've had while being without a job, right? So even with a job, that was the most money I had because I was getting unemployment. I was getting all the benefits. If you know, you know. If you were one of the people that were blessed to be unemployed during COVID, or the people who was doing PPP scams, you know that, COVID was a time to be alive, all right? No pun intended. So it really made me realize how much I was just uncomfortable with being still because it's like, at this point, girl, what are you complaining about? You got money, your child is fed, you have a roof over your head, your bills are up to date, you were actually even able to pay off some of your debt. I was just uncomfortable with being still. And then once I realized that in my silence, I had to learn how to be comfortable in that. Like, okay, today I got up and I did the bare minimum and that's okay. And that ended up leading to me eventually getting a job, but it ended up being a work from home job and it ended up being, I'm working from home. I was able to balance motherhood and all. I just got more free time. And the thing is, I say this all the time with just how society is set up. We're set up not to have free time. Why? Because they don't want that silence because they don't want us to really think and know ourselves. They don't need everyone wanting to be their higher self because that messes up how the nature of society of keeping the highs and the lows, right? So once I learned that, that's how I was able to master the discipline to start working on my health, the discipline to start working on my podcast, the discipline to start working on things that are important to me. So silence revealed that to me without me having to explain it to anyone or without me having to read a self-help book or watch a self-help YouTube, just taking moments to be still and not feel like you have to speak up or say something or prove anything to anyone, right? And that time period when I was unemployed, I had a friend reach out to me like, yo, I wrote a book. I need you to be one of the people that read it before I put it out there. I had another friend. COVID was like an ambitious time for a lot of people. People started opening businesses, started doing that. And old me, I guess, or the insecure me will want to keep up with that. Oh, wait, this person just sent me a book. I need to start working on a business. But I even got to a point where I was like supporting my friends and what they were doing and being okay that I had nothing going on. You know what I'm saying? Being okay with the silence and not contributing to the conversation when they're talking about a business idea, just being like a support system to them, right? So that all led to just revealing this version of myself that I would have never prayed for. I would have never manifested, but it was very much what I needed because in silence, the thing that you're waiting to hear is not just what's next that I want, what's next that's going to happen. I became a mom and I didn't realize in becoming a motherhood how important and how intentional you have to be about spending time with them as they grow. You just think it's inevitable, right? Like I'm in the house with you. I'm a full-time parent, so I'm here. But it's another thing about being here physically and being here intentionally and spiritually with your child. And that's something that if I didn't go through that moment of silence and being still, I wouldn't have known that. Like even I remember being in a meeting because I work from home. My daughter, she was like 3 at the time. She came in the camera while I'm having a meeting with my manager. And she's like, Mommy, I want a cookie. And I'm like, girl, get away. Like, I'll get the cookie later. I'm in a meeting, trying to put that best face forward. And my manager like, girl, we can reschedule. Go get the girl a cookie. We'll talk another time. And it kind of embarrassed me, like in the sense of like, even my manager like knew the importance of spending that quality time or being just intentional with your kids, because the time go by fast. And I know everybody with a teenager or an adult tell me it's gonna come a time where they don't even want to be around you or talk to you. So that's a big thing. The silence is telling you, hey, reminding you this is also happening in your life. You know, this is also happening in your life. Pay attention. I know you're praying for this. I know you're harboring on this that you don't have. But look, you have a kid over here. Hey, you have family here that you should be spending time with. Hey, you have, like, you know, your spiritual self you need to be growing. You have your health self. It's telling you the things that I know society and other things are making us think that we should be thinking one way, but it's there, that silence, the unspoken parts of the world is reminding you of the things that you should be focused on. You know what I'm saying? That's more important in life. This third one, what I would say is silence is the loudest way to set a boundary. I was one of the many people that were fooled that you thought you were setting a boundary when you were the loudest, aggressive, you know, when you approach people with this loudness or aggression to let them know, I don't take this BS, or I don't do this, or I'm gonna leave you, or I'm gonna, child, sometimes the loudest, when we are like the loudest about protecting our boundaries is because we're trying to convince ourselves, because physically we're doing the opposite. When you telling your man or your girl, I'm gonna leave you and you do this, but you staying every time they cross a boundary, but you screaming every time in the midst of you choosing to stay that I don't accept this, but you're accepting it. Or you tell someone, I don't like a friend that like talks behind my back, but you're still hanging, like, you know what I'm saying? I feel like when we are aggressive about our boundaries vocally, it's because not that we're trying to convince the other person that they should, like, you know, like not cross our boundaries. We're trying to convince ourselves, because I don't really believe me. Like, maybe if I roar, I'm gonna believe myself, right? So silence is really the loudest ways to set a boundary, meaning like in the act of someone doing something that crosses your boundaries in any way, disrespect, physically, by you just letting your actions speak and not your words, right? If I don't like someone who gossips, in the midst of them gossiping, when I just say, hey, I'm gonna call you back, or don't say nothing while they're gossiping, touch yourself, you know, this, that, don't say nothing the whole time they're talking. Look at them, but don't say nothing. I promise you that next time that person talks to you, they ain't never gonna gossip about nobody again. I want y'all to try this at home. Like, something that you don't like someone doing, while they are doing it, just don't say anything. Don't give them a reaction. Don't even give a nod. Don't even blink if you can. If you can help it, don't blink. And yeah, literally, a mannequin challenge, right? And I promise you, watch how that person alters themselves in order to be in connection with you the next time you see them or the next time you talk to them. So silence is the biggest way to set a boundary. Like making sure that my physical actions, or make sure I'm acting in a way that communicates what I don't stand for. You know what I'm saying? This is how you really make sure you are being your authentic self. I even do this with social media. I've been through, after I went through a fasting stage where I fast for the month of Ramadan. And I was like, when I came out of it, I was on a social media break too. I was like, I'm gonna stop posting memes. I was like, instead, when I see a meme that like either I relate to or inspires me, I stop and ask myself, am I doing this in real life? Because, you know, everybody want to be a self-help guru on social media. Everyone think that and I don't even want to say everyone think like they're doing it intentionally. I want to kind of remind y'all of what the process of creation is. It's a thought, and then it's an act. If I have a thought, I want to go to Dunkin' Donuts after this, because I really do. The act and me creating that idea, bringing that idea to life, is that when I get in my car, I don't go, oh, stop over here. I don't go stop at McDonald's. I put in Dunkin' Donuts in my GPS and go to Dunkin' Donuts. Now, the thing with social media is you might see a meme that's so motivational. Oh, every day I should get up and work out. It creates a thought in your mind. I'm going to work out every day. Then you share the meme. That becomes the action. So now the motivation that you had to do this thing is no longer there, because you put all that energy in, let me show the world that this is how I think, or this is how I do it. And it's unintentional, believe it or not. It's like subconscious. It's really like we are using the fuel, that motivation and inspiration comes in us when we have a thought. We're using that to use our fingers to just, why do you think like cancel culture is so popular now? Because back then, before social media, when you wanted to cancel something, you had to call off of work. You had to get up. You had to draw a poster. You know what I'm saying? You had to go get supplies, and you had to go stand outside places and really put so much action into what it is that you say you believe in. Now, cancel culture is just a button. Oh, cancel this thing. And you're just putting it on social media, typing all day. So it's like a lot of people have lost the momentum in just creating, not as artists, but as humans, having a thought and bringing things to life, because the standard for the act has become low. You know what I stand for just because I put a post. Oh yeah, Kadi posts every day that she do motivational stuff. I know. Now you're getting the reaction of the people when you meet them, because a lot of times people, we don't see them for a long time. So, but it feels like you saw them yesterday because we follow them on social media. So when people see us, they're treating us like the way that we post. Whether it be memes, whether it's 1 second things that we're reposting, and automatically it's like, she is a successful person. What do you know that I did that was successful? Oh, because you saw a meme that I posted, or because you saw I posted a card, could have been someone else's, right? So we are losing that. And I really want us, because I don't know, with AI around the corner, that is the goal, for people to not really have the I don't even want to say the strength, the consciousness to really bring the life they want into fruition through true hard action or whatever. So silence is the loudest boundary. What was the last one? The last one, which kind of connects into what I was just saying here, silence followed by action is how you prove people wrong. I am a victim to this, because don't ever underestimate me. Now I go on a mission. You know what I'm saying? I go on a mission. When I feel like you're trying to underestimate me, or I feel like, you're discrediting me, naturally, and I think it's just a human thing, you feel like you want to prove people wrong. Oh, they think I'm a failure. Oh, they think I made a bad decision. They think this, they think that. I remember a lot of women go through this. When I revealed that I was pregnant, I remember my friend, and I told her I appreciated her honesty. She's blunt like this. She said to me, girl, don't be one of them people that ruin your life. Like, don't be one of them people that get pregnant and fall off, right? Because it's like, we view you as this person that was so ambitious in doing this. You about to have a baby. Don't be one of them people that fall off. And I appreciated her honesty, because believe it or not, as a woman, and a lot of you women can relate, that is the thought that goes in the back of your mind. You know what I'm saying? It's a beautiful moment like having a kid. You're just like, am I gonna still be able to keep up with the promises that I made to myself? But I had appreciated so much, because I was like, the only way, I didn't argue with her. Most people would have got defensive. What you mean I'm gonna fall off? I was like, I appreciate your honesty, blah, blah, blah. And we laughed it off and made it a joke. But every moment of that day, actually, I had, after college, right after my bachelor's, I went through a stage where I couldn't find any jobs. So what do any fool do when we can't find a job? And yes, I'm talking to you, because I know a lot of us are a victim of this. Because we know folks are going to be asking, what are you doing next? What are you doing next? And you don't want to tell them, I'm working at this hole-in-the-wall job because I can't find a job. I went back for my master's. And I say it's a foolish thing to do, because I didn't do it with the right intention. I didn't need my master's, right? I just needed silence. I needed to be okay with the I don't know and remain in silence, but I wasn't okay with it back then, so I went back for my master's. And in the midst of me doing my master's, this is before I had my daughter, I'm like, I ain't gonna be able to keep doing this, like working full time and going to school. And then at some point they were like, you have to like do an internship to officially get the degree. I'm like, work for free? I got real bills. I am in the real world right now. So I ended up like taking a break from school. But honestly, my mindset was, I ain't going back. Like, those refund checks was good, but I'm not going back. But when my friend said that to me, she like, you pregnant girl? Don't be one of them people that fall off. The thing I did first is like, I'm gonna go back and finish my degree. I went back and finished my degree. I went back and finished my degree. I got my daughter her passport when she was born. I continued with my podcast, recording from my room with my baby sleeping next. But it was about proving them wrong, but also proving my doubts wrong. Because the things that people say to us that hurt us the most is because we believe it about ourselves. If we being honest, right? Or it's a thought that's crossed our mind. So it's like, them saying it is like really being a voice for our like insecurities or whatever. So it was to prove not just them wrong, but to prove myself wrong, right? Like, you can do whatever you put your mind to. So silence, silence, silence. Please, in this age of everybody want a podcast mic, including myself, be more appreciative and lean more towards silence. than anything else. I'm telling you, it is going to be the most powerful thing to ever hit your life. Now, let's get into my favorite part of the segment, which of course is when you guys send questions for advice. And I have one here. Let's see. I like this one. Sorry, where is it? Something happened here. Okay, here it is. This is anonymous. It says, how do you cope with big life changes and just trying to adjust to getting back to you? I like that one. I like that one. How do you cope with big life changes? I think, okay, there's multiple parts to that, right? Because change is bringing us into a world that's so unfamiliar, whatever that big life change is, right? It's the fear, the unfamiliar. It's scary. You know what I'm saying? I don't know where I am. I don't know how to navigate this. But I think the first thing is finding the first familiar thing, right? What do you know? What are you, and I feel like in any situation where there's change, the one familiar thing is you. Put me anywhere, I know I will still be me, right? And when I say you being you, not just you being the physical you being there, but the things that you know by yourself that's true. You know what I'm saying? That you value, that's true to be you. Because a lot of times when we are in a new environment or a new situation or we're tackling a new thing, we forget that there's a version of ourselves that is built for that. We think that because we're in this new thing, then that means I don't know what I'm talking about because I haven't, or I don't know what to do because I haven't experienced this before. But you know you, right? You know, like your, I don't even want to say your qualities, like you know what you're capable of. And if you don't know, this is why I always promote that, promote really taking moments in silence, moments in your life to collect inventory. Because in life, we're just going. We never stop to really collect the experiences that we have had and what it has revealed to us about ourselves, right? So it's so important. I know journaling is a thing that people say to do, but just stop when you get through a hard moment in life, stop and really reflect in third person or bird's eye view of your life and be like, wow, I really got through this. And you'll see that there's not too many changes that you can go through in life that there isn't a version of you that's built for that. You know what I'm saying? That's built to tackle that. Even though it's a new experience, it's not a different challenge. Because the thing that makes something a challenge is like it requires us to tap into a version of ourselves. And trust me, we have been of different versions of ourselves in life through the different experiences that we've had, right? So just really taking a moment to account for those moments. Like if I've been broke before, of course I can tackle being at a new Fortune 500 company and like, cause it's the same challenge. The challenge, if we get to the core of the challenge, is like, when I was broke, I probably felt low. When I'm in this, starting my new business and I got all this money, I feel low because it's my first time ever reaching these new heights. So the core of the challenge is the same. How did you respond when you were low then? Oh, I made a way. When I didn't have money for that day, I got up and did Uber. Or when I was this, I'm giving examples. Like when I was low, I prayed. When I was this, whatever you do to get through that challenge back then in that different circumstance is probably the same skill set that you can use in this new big change. You know what I'm saying? That we're experiencing at the time. So that's the advice I would give. That's how you cope through it. Finding the version of you that's familiar, that is built to tackle this new change. But then also flexibility. I think what makes change so challenging for us is how we are not flexible to it. We're still trying to hold on to a version of ourselves that's not meant for this new change, right? And that's when it becomes friction. That's when it becomes challenge. That's when it becomes like difficult. So being flexible while also being familiar with yourself, the two F's. Knowing what parts of you need to be flexible with in order to adapt to this new change, and what parts of you need to be familiar with so that you know, hey, I already got the tools. If a fire breaks out right now and everything start burning and I forget that I have a fire extinguisher in my back, I'm gonna die for no reason. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm going to burn for no reason. So this is what I mean about taking inventory about the experiences that you have and the strengths that it revealed to you about yourself, so that you remember, I got that fire extinguisher. Oh, it's a fire? I got this. I got it from back then when I got in the fire. Oh, back then when someone just gave it to me, or whatever experience I had. So that's my advice to you. I hope it helps. And thank you all again for joining another episode. If this episode helped one person, then I feel like I've done my job. Please, please, please continue to like, comment, subscribe to the YouTube and social pages. And of course, if you have any advice that you want to ask, go to www.askkadi.com. Bye.
That's my girl, Kadi C, the friend that cares more about your growth than your feelings.